This quote from Pope Francis seemed to kick the man when he was down. If you're just joining us, I'll read it again. He says, there are others who say they, the cootie jabs, are dangerous because they claim that the cooties or the cootie jab introduce the virus into one's system. Even in the College of Cardinals, there are some deniers. And one of them, poor man, is in the hospital with the virus. It's an irony of life. I can't explain it well. So he didn't have to make this comment. He didn't have to say, yeah, I mean, there's even deniers in the College of Cardinals. That's, you always talk about let's accompany people, let's bring people together, let's unite. And who's the one segregating the Cardinals in the College of Cardinals? It's Francis right here. Calls them deniers and then says, yeah, one of them is sick. It's not, if you stop there, it may not have been super classy, but what's not classy is what he says next. And that is, it's an irony of life. It reminds me of this cartoon that was published by the Catholic Diocese of Richmond in their paper. So here's a woman wearing a mask. Siri, what's the word for you get what you deserve? In Sanskrit, it's called karma. And then the next block. So what's the word for enjoying that person's bad karma? In German, it's called Schadenfreude. And what's that called in English? The phrase is called, I told you so. And then the woman in the pink shirt says, I told you so. And then the man is in a yellow shirt that says anti-mask, anti-VAXX, and he's got a oxygen mask on with an oxygen tank, and he's got all these like bugs, little things floating all around him, and she's saying, I told you so. This was published in a diocesan newspaper. They have since apologized, so good for Diocese of Richmond, but this is classless. This is not cool. This is the same like, haha, instant karma. It's rejoicing over the illness of another, or I told you so, or isn't it ironic? This is the irony of life. And you know, it's interesting. I go back to Eric Clapton in this interview that I want all of y'all to go listen to. He talks about the shame and being ostracized by friends and by family, even his own children, because he warns his children about it and its negative effects. And they're like, oh, this makes you feel like a conspiracy theorist, Dad, that you're against this. And he's like, well, I'm not lying to you. I had these negative health effects that everyone observed. That my experience, Eric Clapton said, doesn't make that go away. There are real problems with that, with the cootie jab, double cootie jab that I received, both first and second time. And he explains it. And then he talks about, he cites 1984 and he says, you don't control a population just by fear. You control them with suffering. And part of the suffering is humiliation and psychological oppression of people. And the way you psychologically oppress people and grind them down is you label them like the deniers, right? You rejoice in their suffering and you keep them in this other group so that the people that identify with the whatever, in this case, the denier group, over time, they're like, it's so miserable to be in this group, to be persecuted, to be pushed against, to be labeled. They finally just break. They either break permanently or they break and they just go into the mainstream. Because I think most people who are middle age or older, I'll count myself in that, will tell you psychological suffering is worse than physical suffering. Like a mother will tell you that hardship for her child, the psychology of it, is much worse than childbirth, although childbirth is extremely painful. The psychological pains are worse than the physical pains. And physical pains often can heal almost or entirely perfect. Psychological ones, without Jesus and grace, they don't heal. They don't heal.